Good morning, Internet! This is the Old Fat Dad, and welcome back to another beautiful day on the Goober Nation gun range. Today, we're going to take another look at Winchester's self-defense ammo in 22 LR. Our last video we had with that ammo, we did it out of a pistol. This video, we're going to try it out of a rifle. Let's take a quick look at the Winchester ammo. It is called the Winchester Silvertip, and it is a 37 grain bullet. It is segmented, designed to blow apart, and they have it rated at 1060 feet per second out of a 3.5 inch barrel. Today we're going to be using a much longer barrel than 3.5 inches though. We're going to be shooting with the Ruger 1022 with an 18 inch barrel, and I'm curious to see what kind of difference it makes. We'll be running a couple different tests. To start out with, we'll do the small game simulator, the good old dog food. It's got its tough skin, meaty interior, and in our last test with the pistol, I compared it to the Browning BTR, which is also a 37 grain fragmenting round, and the BTR bullet exploded and didn't penetrate as far as the Winchester bullet. So usually I only shoot one of these cans in our testing. I'm going to line up several when I'm shooting the Winchester and then compare it to the BTR and see whether we get that extra penetration that we saw in our pistol test with the rifle on the dog food. Next test will be with our lovely Ballistic modeling clay. Again, I'm going to use the BTR to compare. We'll shoot 2 blocks and see what the difference is out of the rifle. And then finally, I really would like to do a accuracy test, see how it does at about 50 yards, and I also want to do a chronograph test. This is kind of the boring stuff, so I'll tack it in at the end and let you dedicated ballistic nerds like me kind of watch that, and everybody else will be spared the boring monotony of seeing me shoot a bunch of rounds all at once. So some of you folks who've been watching for a while might notice that the 1022 looks a little bit different today. All I did was swap out the original stock with this Target Light stock that I'd found somebody getting rid of for cheap. It's a little bit more comfortable, but I don't think it's going to affect the accuracy or change the rifle much. First day shooting it, so I guess we'll see. Anyhow, let's get to loading up our good old Winchester ammo. Got 1 round I'm going to put in there, and we have got 3 small game simulators, and they are right over there on that table. Let's take a shot and see what kind of damage we do. Wow. Okay, I saw cans jumping in the air. Not as explosive as I thought. I don't think I see any lids popped off. I'm really curious to see what happened. Let's go check it out. Well, these results are interesting. Let me go through the cans real quick. This is the first one, and these are all entrances here. Second one, there. Third one, there. Getting progressively larger on the entrances, and the exits look like this. 1, 2, and 3. A little close up. Here's our first exit, and I think we can see signs of segmentation. There's a lot of damage up and down there. Rather large hole out the back. And then this one's quite a bit skinnier, and then a good bit of damage out of the back of the third one. I did not expect the round to go through all 3 cans of dog food. I also did not expect to see what I think is kind of minimal damage for a rifle shot with what should be a pretty high velocity rounds. A lot of times that can will get blown completely up. There'll be dog food shooting way out of there, and just a ton of damage to the can, but it's kind of minimal damage. I think the thing to do now is do a comparison shot, and let's see what that BTR ammo does to 3 cans lined up. Okay, now the BTR, we'll load a round up in here, and we'll see if there's any difference. I'm really impressed with the penetration of the Winchester Silvertip, but the initial damage was pretty low. Be curious to see what this BTR does. Let's give her a rip. And if I didn't mention before, we're about 10 yards away. I know you guys like to see me get splashed with dog food, but today's such a beautiful day, I just I don't feel like getting a dog food shower today. BPR, here we go. Wow, okay. I think there was a good bit more explosiveness out of that round. Curious to check out the results. Let's go. And we're getting surprisingly similar results with the BPR to the Winchester. These are the entrances. First one, second one, third one. Kind of neat to note too how that bullet path is trending upwards. That third one's a lot higher than the first two. And we get a lot of damage into the second one. Third one, not quite as much. That first one is just a tiny little hole. Let's take a look at the backs. There's that first shot through the back. Again, a pretty good sized hole. Maybe some signs of segmentation, but nothing too drastic. And the second exit, it's kind of dying down a little bit. And that third one's just a tiny little sliver through the back. Really not at all what I was expecting. I thought that it would be a pretty dramatic difference between the two different rounds. But in the end, we get full penetration through 3 cans of dog food and no real great signs of segmentation. Makes me wonder what's going on with the rifle velocities, because out of a pistol, through our dog food, we did see segmentation. Pretty weird. Let's move to the clay and just see what kind of results we get there. Alright, now we've got the clay set up, and we're going to start with the Silvertip ammo. We'll see what kind of damage we get. Move the clay in a good bit closer than the dog food so we can make sure we get a nice solid hit. We'll go on the right side clay first with the Winchester Silvertip. And now we're going to load up one round of the BPR and take our shot at the clay on the left. Okay, let's go take a peek at what we got. My expectations for what these 2 different kinds of ammo we're going to do out of a rifle were totally different from the results. So let's take a look at this clay. First up is the Winchester. Nice, big old explosive hole. Inside I can see there's a lot of damage. We'll cut it open, take a closer look, but out the back, nothing. Nothing came through. So the Winchester self-defense ammo did not penetrate my 4 to 5 inch block of clay. Moving over to the BPR, again we can see a lot of damage up front. And what's that? You see a little bit of light out the back? Yeah, me too. The BPR managed to go all the way through. I honestly expected the ammo that was designated a self-defense ammo would have more penetration, but it is not supposedly made for a rifle, so maybe these higher velocities are driving it too hard and causing it to explode too quickly. I don't know. I'm going to cut open the clay and we'll take a look at the inside. Here is the inside of the Winchester Silvertip, and you can see that we've got a nice big expansion up front, and then it stops right there. There's our bullet, and there is obviously segmentation going on. In this one you can see the 2 little pieces of lead right there by my thumb. Moving on to the BPR, also really good expansion up front, definitely segmentation. Here's a piece there, there's another piece down there, and on this side you can see that it went all the way through, and one more segment going off that way. And putting these a little bit closer together, I think you'll see that the BPR on this side definitely had more expansion up front than the Winchester over here. Here is the recovered bullet from the Winchester shot, and you can see those 3 pieces of segmented bullet there. Here is the base, and it is a very thin wafer of a base. Definitely expanded a bunch. I'll show you the BPR. This is what I could get out of the clay with the BPR. Again, 3 little segmented pieces. I took another shot off camera on a thicker piece of clay to capture this base off of the BPR, and it is also wafer thin. Interesting to note too, the base of the Winchester Silvertip seems to have held together a good bit better than the base of the BPR. You can see we got a lot more mass left in the Winchester than the BPR. Some interesting results with our little test of the Winchester Silvertip out of a rifle. I had a suspicion that the BPR and the Silvertip, the Browning BPR and the Winchester Silvertip, were going to be basically the same bullet, they just repackaged. After these tests, you know, I think I was wrong. It looks like there is definitely different technology in the 2 different bullets, and I'm really happy to see that. It looks like Winchester is interested in doing some innovations still. I don't know about these results. I'm curious to hear what you guys think about them. Again, the Winchester is not supposedly designed for longer barrels. It's designed for shorter barrels. So take this with a grain of salt. Now, for you ballistic nerds, we're going to go ahead and move on to some accuracy testing, some chronographing, and see what kind of numbers we get from our Winchester Silvertip. For everybody else, thanks for watching. We hope to see you next time. Okay, we've got the chronograph set up. We've got a 50-yard target, actually 3 of them set up, and we've got our good old Winchester Silvertip. So let's load it up and take our shots, see what kind of accuracy we're getting at 50 yards with these Silvertips. We're going to do 3 5-shot groups and check out the results when we're done. $12.88. $12.44. $12.71. $12.71 duplicate. $12.76. $12.75. $12.84. $12.91. $13.09. $12.78. And here is our groups at 50 yards, and they are about 1-inch groups, so about 2 MOA, and from the chronograph we are shooting between about 1250 and 1300 feet per second. So actually not an extremely hot round for 22, right on the edge of hypervelocity, I would say, pretty close to mini mags actually. And the accuracy is not going to be match accuracy, but I'd say it's good enough for hunting within 50 yards probably. And that definitely wraps it up for this one. Went a little bit long, but I think we got a lot of good information. Really neat to see some different kinds of ammo out there, to see companies innovating. That's it for me though. We'll see you next time.